Hey everybody, Jim Heath from the Jim Heath channel. Some of you have been asking for my final prediction of who Donald Trump will choose as his running mate. The Republican convention is here finally in 2024, and we still don't know who potentially could be the next vice president of the United States. So let's take a look at the top five now, not waste any time. My number five pick at this point, Tim Scott, the senator from South Carolina, conservative, African-American, who has shown strong loyalty to the former president. His presence on the ticket could help attract minority voters and boost the Republican Party's image on diversity. But you know what? There's some disconnect between Tim Scott and Donald Trump. I can't quite put my finger on it. I think that Tim Scott is a little bit too much like Mike Pence, maybe. And plus, South Carolina, Trump's already got that in the bag, those electoral votes, so he doesn't need that state. Tim Scott remains kind of a long shot here at number five on the list. Let's check out number four, the only woman in the top five. It is Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, a representative from New York. She's been a vocal supporter of Donald Trump. Her inclusion on the ticket could suggest that Trump believes that New York might be competitive, although that is typically a Democratic stronghold. New York is a typically Democratic state, and while polls have showed Trump kind of in the mix here, he's still about 10 points behind. That's not close when you have other states that you have to worry about. Stefanik would be an interesting choice. Her name has sort of hovered on this list for a while. However, I think that she's still a long shot. That's why she's number four. Let's move to number three now. Doug Burgum, the governor of North Dakota, a billionaire who brings a rugged, individualistic image to the ticket. He's been supportive of the president, aligning with his policies, but he is not known well nationally. And quite frankly, I think that Trump is going to be cautious about choosing somebody that hasn't been vetted. He just doesn't want his running mate to be in the way. You know how Donald Trump is. We don't have to discuss this out loud, but I mean, Trump likes to be the star of the show, and he likes his running mate, I think, to have a little pizzazz as well. I'm just not sure that Burgum has that pizzazz. I had him at number one on my list a couple months ago, but he's kind of slipped back now to number three. Check out the number two pick on my top five list for Donald Trump's running mates, J.D. Vance, a senator from Ohio, just 39 years old. Clearly, he is the future of the MAGA movement. Despite his past criticisms, and they were harsh, of Donald Trump back in 2016, he has become a strong supporter and a best friend of Donald Trump Jr. Don Jr. loves J.D. Vance, and there's no question that the presidential son is pushing his dad to put J.D. Vance on the ticket. I will say that J.D. Vance has emerged on just about everybody's list as number one. Just about everybody thinks that J.D. Vance is going to be the pick. But there are certain things I still don't know that Trump can get past them. The facial hair, I know that Donald Trump said recently that J.D. Vance with that beard, which Trump hates. He hates beards. He hates facial hair. He called him like a person that looked like Abraham Lincoln. But, you know, Donald Trump took Abraham Lincoln's picture off the wall in the Oval Office and replaced it with Andrew Jackson. So calling somebody like Abraham Lincoln to Donald Trump, I don't know is necessarily a big compliment. And there's just something about J.D. Vance that's overly ambitious, and I'm not sure that Trump wants to have the heir apparent to his movement in the White House or nearby the White House, just waiting for something to happen to him. So I'm a little hesitant to move J.D. Vance to number one on my list, and because everybody else has done it, I decided, hey, I'm going to go out there and go with my gut instinct and what I would recommend to Donald Trump, quite frankly, if I were in a position to say, hey, this person makes the most sense. And at number one, the person I believe Donald Trump could be considering and who makes the most sense to me is Dr. Ben Carson. He is a longtime Trump loyalist, as we all know. He's African-American. His presence on the ticket could help Trump continue to target the African-American vote, particularly African-American men who have seemingly been more open to Trump's re-election effort this year than they ever have been. Carson's calm demeanor could be a great match against Vice President Kamala Harris in the one and only vice presidential debate that's coming up. I mean, if you think about it, Harris will obviously want to be on the attack. If she's in a debate with J.D. Vance, it's going to be sort of vicious. And I think it's what the Biden campaign wants to show is energy. And if you have Dr. Ben Carson there in the debate, he is just not that type of debater. He's not that type of guy. So if you think about it, if you think the checkpoint list for a running mate for Trump, quite frankly, Ben Carson, he checks off all of the boxes. It is true, yes, as we've said, that he can be a little sleepy. He can be less than energetic. But if you're Donald Trump, that's perfect because he's the energy guy. He's the type A guy. Ben Carson is not type A. Ben Carson appeals to the African-American community, shows that Trump is serious. particularly with African American men who seem to be, I mean, let's just be honest here. If Donald Trump can peel off 10, 15, 20% of African American male voters in Philadelphia, he'll win Pennsylvania. And if he wins Pennsylvania, he wins the presidency. That's what this is all about. And Ben Carson, if he can help win some of those African American votes in the big cities in Pennsylvania, he locks up the election for Donald Trump. I can't think of anyone on my list, at least, that fills out more boxes for Trump than Dr. Ben Carson. So that's who I'm going with. This is just based on years and years and years of experience. We all know that Donald Trump is his own guy, and he's going to choose who he feels is best. But if I were making a recommendation for all the reasons we talked about, Dr. Ben Carson should be on that ticket. Stay tuned. What do you think? Please leave comments below. Keep them nice and civil, please. That's what this channel is all about, just good communication. And we will continue to cover election 2024 right here on the Jim Heath channel. Be sure to like, subscribe. It means a lot to us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
He's been watching the Electoral College map since high school and college. No one understands the race to 270 electoral votes better than Jim Heath. You can count on his fair and balanced analysis throughout election 2024. Be sure to subscribe and ring the bell. Thanks for watching the Jim Heath channel.